The Vanishing Heart of America, America 2025. In small towns across the country, daily life is shifting in unsettling ways. A mother in New Mexico now drives over 40 miles just to buy a gallon of milk. An elderly man in Louisiana is cutting his medication in half because his local pharmacy has shut its doors. In Ohio, a young child asks his mom why the McDonald's near their house has suddenly disappeared. This isn't just about closed stores, it's about a fading way of life. The lights are going out in places we once considered untouchable. Walmart, McDonald's, CVS. And with them go the communities built around them. These brands were more than just businesses. They were the pulse of neighborhoods. Now many sit silent behind dusty, closed signs. In this video, we explore the quiet and often overlooked disappearance of America's most iconic chains and what that means for everyday people, especially in working class and low-income communities. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way. 1. Walmart. When the giant leaves town. Have you ever walked into a Walmart and found it empty? Not just low on stock like during a pandemic, but truly deserted. No checkout beeps, no shopping carts clattering, no cars in the parking lot. In recent months, viral TikTok videos have captured this eerie reality across the US. Entire aisles sit bare, employees are nowhere to be seen, and in many places, Walmart has simply shut down. At its peak, Walmart operated over 5,300 stores in the US, serving as the commercial core of thousands of small towns. But in just the past year, over 20 locations have closed, mostly in low-income, majority-Black neighborhoods. For many of these communities, the store wasn't just a place to shop, it was a lifeline. When Walmart disappears, so do the corner gas stations, the pizza places, and the small shops nearby. In one Arkansas town, 60% of daily foot traffic vanished after Walmart closed its doors. Elderly residents who once walked or wheeled themselves to get groceries or medicine now have to wait for family to drive them, sometimes cutting their pills in half just to make them last. Walmart wasn't just a store, it was the last standing hub of community life in many towns. And its absence leaves more than just empty shelves. It leaves a deep void in daily human connection. 2. McDonald's. The golden arches are fading. Over the past 2 years, more than 700 McDonald's locations across the US have quietly shut down. Many had stood for over 4 decades. No goodbye sign, no farewell celebrations, just a sudden closure, often overnight. For countless American families, McDonald's has never been just a fast food chain. It was the Friday night treat for good grades, the pit stop on a long family road trip, the affordable birthday celebration when times were tough. It was where grandparents shared happy meals with grandchildren, and parents sat down for a moment of connection over Big Macs. But those everyday rituals are vanishing. McDonald's isn't shutting down because it's failing. It's still growing internationally. In fact, it's expanding in places like India, the Philippines, and the Middle East. What's really happening is a strategic shift. The company is pulling out of small towns and low-income US neighborhoods to focus on high-profit urban areas and global markets. In 2023 alone, 400 locations in America's Midwest, once the beating heart of the working class, were closed. Not because people stopped eating, but because corporate metrics decided those communities were no longer profitable enough. A former night manager in Missouri who worked at McDonald's for 18 years said she was never told the store would close. She simply arrived one day to find the doors locked. It felt like the memories just vanished, she said, not with anger, but with deep sadness. Where once there was warmth, laughter, and human connection, now there are cold self-order kiosks and eerily quiet dining rooms. What happens to a nation when even its most accessible gathering places begin to disappear? 3. CVS. Medicine is now a journey. What happens when the pharmacy is no longer there? In recent years, CVS has announced the closure of nearly 1,000 stores, with a large number located in rural towns, low-income areas, and minority communities. Not because the company is struggling. On the contrary, it's more profitable than ever and is aggressively growing its online business. But for the millions who don't have easy access to broadband or can't travel long distances, these closures are devastating. For many elderly residents, CVS wasn't just a pharmacy. It was a trusted place to speak to a familiar face, a place to ask about prescriptions, get guidance, and feel seen. Now they're being replaced with web links, automated messages, and silence. A stroke patient who once picked up his heart medication just 4 blocks from home now spends 2 hours taking multiple buses to reach the nearest pharmacy. "I don't blame them," he said, "but if they once called themselves ambassadors of healthcare, why did they abandon us when we needed them most?" When CVS disappears, it's not just about medicine. It's about the quiet erasure of care, access, and trust in the very communities that rely on it the most. 4. Dollar Tree, when affordability disappears. There was a time when even a few coins could fill your cart at Dollar Tree, a place that promised everything for $1. Birthday balloons, cleaning supplies, canned goods, no questions asked. But that promise is breaking. In the past 18 months, over 600 Dollar Tree stores have closed in vulnerable communities. Prices jumped from $1 to $1.25, then again to $1.50, breaking the chain's most sacred commitment. Rising theft, inflation, and thin profit margins led the brand to retreat from the very areas that needed it most. Dollar Tree was our last resort. I got party decorations, food, toilet paper all in one trip, and now it's gone. In its place, shelves stocked with cheap goods of even cheaper quality, expired snacks, flimsy toys, and toothpaste that barely lasts. Dollar Tree isn't gone everywhere, but it's leaving behind the people who relied on it the most. And what does that say about the future of low-cost living in America? 5. Applebee's, where the family table vanished. In the Midwest and South, Applebee's used to be the Friday night dinner spot. Not too expensive, not too fancy, just warm and welcoming. Families gathered after long shifts, friends shared meals, and birthday parties filled the dining rooms. Today, more than 300 Applebee's have shut their doors. Some turned into vaccination centers. Others became warehouses or churches. The tables once surrounded by chatter and laughter now sit in storage, or worse, demolished. Applebee's didn't close because people stopped loving food. It closed because people stopped staying. Customers now prioritize speed, price, and convenience. They order online, they eat alone, they move on. One longtime chef in Kentucky said, "I used to hear laughter from the kitchen. I felt like I was cooking for the whole town. Now it's all takeout and silence." The collapse of Applebee's isn't just about food, it's about the vanishing act of togetherness. 6. Sears, when the American dream collects dust. In the heart of Detroit stands a crumbling 4-story building, once known as the Sears Center. Its shattered glass and fading signs now serve as backdrops for urban explorers and abandoned building photo shoots. For generations, Sears wasn't just a store, it was a rite of passage. It was where newlyweds bought their first fridge, where professionals found their first job interview suit, where families proudly saved up for furniture or appliances. Sears held memories, not just merchandise. But today the name Sears barely echoes across the retail landscape. Since 2018, hundreds of locations have been sold off, converted, or quietly shut down. Many were not closed because of competition or online shopping, but because investors treated the brand like an asset to dismantle rather than preserve. A warehouse manager who gave nearly 30 years of his life to Sears said, "I didn't think it would disappear. Sears was part of America." But then came early retirement notices, and within months, the store was sealed. Sears was more than a store. It was a memory vault, a symbol of a middle-class America that once felt secure, reliable, and human. And now, it's mostly gone, leaving behind only empty buildings and faded hope. 7. Chuck E. Cheese, where childhood faded quietly. There was once a place where children could run freely, win tickets, laugh over greasy pizza, and hug a giant mouse mascot. A place where money didn't matter, and joy came in the form of glowing arcade lights. That place was Chuck E. Cheese. In its prime, the chain operated over 600 locations nationwide. But by 2025, less than half remain, and many of those have been repurposed into gyms, warehouses, or retail centers. Why? Not because kids stopped showing up. The arcades were still full, but they didn't spend enough. Chuck E. Cheese simply no longer fit the corporate growth model. A grandfather in Pennsylvania shared, "I didn't have a pool or a backyard, but I had Chuck E. Cheese. Every weekend, I took my granddaughter there. Now we sit at home, and the iPad has replaced everything." Chuck E. Cheese was never just a restaurant. It was a working-class Disneyland. And now with its closures, something more intangible is vanishing. The freedom of childhood, the magic of physical play, and the joy of simply being a kid in a welcoming place. Its decline isn't just about shifting trends. It's about what we're letting go of, without realizing. Final thoughts. When familiar places become ghosts, Walmart, McDonald's, CVS, Dollar Tree, Applebee's, Sears, Chuck E. Cheese. These aren't just businesses. They were anchors of community, of routine, of belonging. Today, they're disappearing, and they're doing so quietly, one location at a time. Not with riots or headlines, but with empty parking lots, closed signs, and silence. Each shuttered store takes with it a piece of American life. The corner laundromat now turned into a digital bank. The cozy cafe where grandparents read the paper, now gone. The neighborhood cinema replaced by an Amazon warehouse. And perhaps most troubling, we barely notice. Because these disappearances don't scream, they whisper. The real question isn't, which store will close next? It's, will we care enough to notice? Will we speak up before everything meaningful slips away? Because what we're losing isn't just convenience or childhood games. We're losing community, connection, and identity. So take a moment. Think of a place that mattered in your life but no longer exists. A store, a diner, a pharmacy, a playground. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way.